What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I have an interesting comparison. We got my 2020 Toyota Supra and a beautiful 2020 Aston Martin Vantage. Huge shout out and thank you real quick to Foreign Cars Charlotte. They're providing the Aston Martin for today's video, and I have a full review of this car. It is awesome. So in today's video, we're gonna compare a Toyota to an Aston Martin. There's about a $100,000 price difference. My car is 56 grand. This one base price is around 156 grand. With options, this one's at 180,000 bucks. So it is a nice step up as far as pricing goes. But what we're gonna find out with today, because I've already driven this a little bit, it is a huge step up. So why am I comparing the two cars? Really because they are the identical layout. We got a front engine, turbocharged engine, same thing for that. And then if we look at the rear ends, these are both two-door, two-seaters with a hatchback design and that ducktail spoiler all integrated to the rear. It is really cool to see how similar the designs actually are. The Aston Martin has this low-slung coupe design with an integrated ducktail spoiler. Very beautiful car. But then as we watch the silhouette change to the Supra's silhouette, very identical. It's a very similar car. We have an integrated ducktail spoiler within the trunk lid, just the same, which is kind of cool. So while the exterior design definitely has some similarities between the two, there are some performance differences that also make these not competitors, but very similar cars, just Toyota's here and the Aston Martin is above here. So kind of cool to see that. So let's go underneath the hood on each car, and we are gonna be taking out the Aston Martin for a test drive. So with this, we will pop that open, and then opening up the hood, we get the inline 6-cylinder turbocharged engine. For the Aston Martin, we actually have to go to the passenger side now, opening up these beautiful swan doors. Very, very cool. I wish I could get this type of hinge over on the Toyota. So this one, it is located under here. And pulling that latch, we can close the door. And then revealing this engine, you can see we got a little bit of a difference here. This car has a 4-liter twin turbocharged 8-cylinder engine derived from Mercedes This is actually an AMG motor. Over on the Supra, this engine is derived from BMW. It is a 3-liter inline 6-cylinder single turbocharged engine. As far as horsepower goes, the Aston Martin has 503 horsepower with 505 pound-feet of torque. The Toyota has 335 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque. So with those numbers, that kind of leads us to why I feel these are kind of in the same family of cars. This is a Japanese car, it's a Toyota. However, it is in partnership with BMW. The drivetrain is from BMW. This car is a British car, an Aston Martin. However, same thing, it's got a German powertrain from Mercedes-Benz. Both cars have the ZF 8-speed automatic. It is mounted on the engine on the Supra. However, on the Aston, the transmission is actually mounted in the rear end of the car. So really cool to see how this is an Aston Martin, but they've worked with Mercedes, another company, to actually help them with the drivetrain. And then for Toyota, the same thing. We have a Toyota, then they worked with another company, BMW, working with the drivetrain. So really cool to see how both cars kind of share that similarity. And then if we go on the interiors to see the differences, they both have that same layout. We got 2 seats in here, 2-door car. One thing you're gonna notice, every single thing is beautiful leather and stitching. Absolutely stunning car to look at. Every single thing you touch is either aluminum or leather. And then hopping in the Toyota, it is a little bit different story. We have a lot of plastic in here. This is not real leather at all, but we do get some carbon fiber, a decent quality leather seat. Really not too bad. It is a really good place to be, and you have all the technology in this car. But you can definitely see some similarities between the interior of the Supra and then going back into the Aston Martin. Now real quick, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the storage space. Like we know, this is a hatchback coupe. I got my camera bag and lunchbox in here. You can see how much space we have, and then this shelf you can actually push forward to have a little bit more room into the passenger area. But with it open, it is nice. You have a shelf behind the seats and then this one. So definitely really usable for a car like this. And then go over to the Supra. Very similar. We have a much larger area, I think, with just a full square shape here, and then it just goes to the passenger area right there with those speakers. And then just like the other one, this is removable for larger items. So the Supra's got a little bit more interior storage space to it comparing it to the Aston, but nonetheless, this is laid out very well. It is very roomy on the inside in both cars, so very similar in that aspect. And then as far as both cars, let's see how they sound back to back. So both cars, as you can tell, they have some pops to the exhaust. I do have an aftermarket AWE exhaust, but even the stock Supra, it pops. So really cool, even there's another similarity between the two cars. They both sound insane. So with that said, let's hop into the Aston Martin, go for a drive, and see what this thing is like compared to the Supra. So we are now in the 2020 Aston Martin Vantage. How does this car compare with the $100,000 cheaper Toyota Supra? Well, as we already saw, the layout is identical. It is a two-seater, two-doored car with a hatchback style rear end. Pretty much practicality is identical between the two cars. A little bit more usable in the Supra since it does have a larger trunk with a little bit better access like that. But now that we are in this car, what are you getting for that additional $100,000 on the base price, and then of course a couple bucks in extras? You are getting a ton. This car is very well worth the pricing, I think. It just feels like a high-end premium luxury car, which is exactly what this is. Aston Martin, they make some amazing cars. I love them so much. But this car right now, as I'm driving it, very comfortable and refined feeling. Even on a slower road right now, the suspension is doing a really good job absorbing all of the bumps. It's very comfortable and quiet. I am extremely comfortable chilling in this seat, and really no complaints. The layout is a little bit different, of course, than the Supra. There's a lot of buttons here. It takes a little bit getting used to, but once you kind of take a look at it and focus on it, you can definitely use it very well. And then another thing you're getting is the refinements in this car. This thing is stunning. There's leather everywhere. Everything is beautiful looking. I like the overall layout in this car, and when you do compare it to a Toyota Supra, which again is not even close to a competitor car, but this car just, it has everything a Supra has, but it takes it up to the exotic level. It's really cool to see similar layouts in cars, but then you get the high-end leathers, the materials, the fit and finish that, of course, an Aston Martin is going to offer. So it's kind of fun comparing the two. We're going to check out some performance in just a second, but the Supra is no slouch. It is not a slow car at all, and this car is a lot quicker. But just driving it on some slow roads, we're actually getting some B-roll shots of it right now. Hope you guys are enjoying them. But just normal driving, it's so smooth and quiet and comfortable. Oh man, this really is a nice car to be in. So then as far as the fun modes go for the Vantage, if we toggle this up into track mode and sport mode, everything gets a little bit more aggressive. It is nice how, just like the Supra, you have different driving modes, but going into track mode now and in manual, this car really packs a punch, just giving it a little bit of gas. So one thing I really like with the Toyota Supra, it does have different driving modes, has the active suspension, and then the sport mode button also makes the throttle response a little bit sharper. With this car, we have 3 different modes. Something kind of weird, this car starts in sport mode. There is no normal mode at all. So we're in sport mode right now for the drivetrain, exhaust, and suspension. So toggling the button on the left, we can go into sport plus mode suspension, and then one more, we are in track mode, and instantly I feel some bumps. That is night and day, which I love to see. And then on the right side, going into the Sport Plus mode for drivetrain, I'll go ahead and put it into manual mode, and then track mode for drivetrain. The exhaust opens up now, and this is where this car just really shines. Sounds amazing. It packs a punch. It's really quick. The V8 just has so much meat to it, and when you do compare the two cars, while they're, of course, not competitors, and you can hear this thing idling, and then going down to sport mode, it's so much quieter, everything just gets a lot more normal. But with this car, you just feel such a sense of performance and power with this kind of power level comparing it to a Supra. And really, if you're looking at it, I would say the Supra's here, the V8 Jaguar F-Type would be the next one, and then the Aston Martin Vantage is the king of this type of layout. It's a really cool layout, you know, two-door, two-seater coupe cars with the rear hatch. So it's a nice layout, but it's awesome to see how an Aston Martin does share some similarities with the Toyota. It just has the extra refinements and just a whole world of performance that the other car doesn't have. So that is definitely really nice to see, but this is definitely cool to compare the two cars because I'm kind of on the search to see what are the competitive cars to a Toyota Supra. It really stands in its own class, and it's almost like that body style of car. You have a Supra, the F-Type, and then this Aston Martin at the top. There's not many other cars in the price range of the Supra that are direct competitors. So it's almost like a family of two-door, two-seater hatchback coupes that are kind of a wave of different levels. Like this would absolutely be an amazing replacement if I could swap the Supra for this, because this has everything the Supra can do, but then it can do even more than a Supra just because it is a super fast exotic car. It has some crazy things to it. So then to finish up the video, we'll put it back into manual mode and then go into the track mode to hear that exhaust one more time. Alright, so unfortunately we are getting to the end of the test drive in the Aston Martin Vantage. This car really is an awesome car. You get a lot to offer with this thing. It sounds so good with that AMG engine. And then wrapping up, we got a little bit of a tight turn in second gear now just to feel it out. Man, really, really tight and light on its toes. Well, there you go. That is a test drive of the Aston Martin Vantage. I've got over 4,000 miles of experience with the Toyota Supra. Really everything the Toyota Supra has, the Aston Martin has, just on a whole new level. It is the exotic supercar version of what the Supra has to offer. So fantastic comparing the two cars. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think are either competitors to the Supra in the same pricing or big boy versions of it? I think this is the big boy version of the Supra, hands down. I would love to swap the Supra for this Vantage as my daily. That would be a heck of a car. But that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Once again, a huge thank you to Foreign Car Charlotte. They're providing this Aston Martin for today's video. Definitely check out their website. They have a huge selection of brand new Maseratis, Bentleys, Alphas, and the Aston Martins, so definitely check them out. But that's it for today's video. Give it a thumbs up, smash the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next video.